we stand. Better days and better nights as we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we want to see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the sake of us.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more failing, telling me beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I was a part of the mission, changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be. And if they're thinking we can, we show them that just as long as we stand. A monument, we the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake of us. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my people rising, yeah.
Shabbat shalom lekulam. Ani mitpalel she'akol beseder elkem hayom. I pray all is well with you all today. I am Nasi Karashi Shabbat Chief Shema. It's another Shabbat, you all. We're about to go and dive into a discussion, a lesson that I pray, that we pray is thought-provoking and life-changing, taking little elements of what it is we're going to be going over and applying it to our lives, or having a different perspective as to what we have been doing already. All right. My Isha is not present today. You know, just make sure you pray for our family, pray for her, feel better, you know, so she's not feeling too great right now, but she will be returning next Shabbat so we can do it together like we always do, right? House is the foundation. The community is its mirror, and a nation is its product. So the home representation is very important. Not only the representation, but the actual way of living, right? A lot of us put things on front and before the people, but we're struggling behind the scenes, right? All right, so today's topic is even the righteous must pay. Even the righteous must pay. Make sure you think on that for a minute. Keep that on the back of your mind. We're going to go right into it, but I want to make sure that I showed you that is what we're going to be talking about on this afternoon. But before we get started, we're going to go into the reading. We encourage those of you to write this down, and kind of use this as a starting point for your day, right? Start reading these scriptures daily before your day begins. And I believe it'll give you a great start, right? So here we go. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is an abomination to Yah, or Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. This scripture is extremely important because any faults, any wickedness, any things that the Most High points out throughout the scripture, it relies right on this right here as far as what we're doing wrong. Misrepresenting him, misrepresentation of ourselves. It's a false balance because we're not looking at all aspects of what he has provided for us, right? Instructed us to do. So he's letting us know right here that a false balance is an abomination. Abomination. So we need to make sure that we're as balanced as possible when we're operating as children of the Most High, just life in general, but mainly as children of the Most High, right? Next one, Psalms 19:7-14 says, the law of Yah is perfect. The law of Yah is perfect. I'm going to stop right there. The reason that laws are put in place is because those who put it in place saw so many things that were going on, and things were put in place based off of those things, and they put it in place for us to know that this is the way to overcome it. This is the way to prevent it, right? So the Most High has put things in place, the laws in place, because these things are perfect for our lives, operating one another, operating with servitude before him. So we have to understand that. I understand the teaching that's going around as far as there's no more law and things of that nature, and that's fine, based upon what you want to do in your life. But me and my home, and those that I'm in the covenant with, we're in the covenant with, those that we deal with righteously, we're going to operate with understanding that the law of the Most High is perfect because the scripture says it is. All right? Reviving the soul. The testimony of Yah is sure, making wise the simple. How is it making wise the simple? Simple being those that may not be super scholarly, or those that may not have a whole bunch of financial gains, right? Or things that others may not have. Why is it making the simple wise? Because it's affecting and improving their life, right? Mentally, spiritually, and physically. There are a lot of people that believe themselves to be extremely wise, but they are not a benefit for themselves. For those that might not be or looked at as extremely wise, but simple, they are a benefit to themselves and to others. The precepts of Yah are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of Yah is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of Yah is clean, right? Why is that important? Because if you're fearing the Most High or have extreme reverence to the Most High, then every step that you take is going to be intentional and towards the path of cleanliness, not just washing of the hands, but washing of your mind, washing of your spirit, right? Enlighten the eyes. The fear of Yah is clean, enduring forever. The rules of Yah are true and righteous altogether. So the rules, you can say laws, you can say rules, right? Commandments, it's true. So when someone says it's not, that's problematic in itself. Okay? And it's righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, even much fine gold, sweeter also than the honey and drippings of the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is your servant warned. This is the only way that it's warned. But it's done away with. That makes no sense. When you get items for your home and you have to put it together, you have no background of putting things together. Those instructions are there for you to be successful in building whatever it is. Those are warnings for you, because if you try to do it yourself, you'll mess around and break it, or it might not get put together. So it's a warn. These things warn you. All right. In keeping them, there is great reward. Who can discern his errors? Declare me innocent from hidden faults. Keep back your servant also from presumptuous sins. Right? Sins that are done on purpose. You're literally doing it and you know you shouldn't be doing it. Keep your servant. It's important that he's saying servant, because everyone is not a servant of the Most High. Even those that speak the Most High's name or attribute is not a servant of the Most High. Servant is a serious word. All right? Let them not have dominion over me. then I shall be blameless and innocent of great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. Oh yeah, my rock and my redeemer. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, but Yah said to Shemuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For Yah sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but Yah looks on the heart. This is important. I think I'm going to add the scripture before it, because you will see that Samuel's like, oh, this has to be the individual. His stature as well, right? Good looking individual. Got a lot going for himself around here. He's able to, look over the sheep, look over whatever. He's looking good. But the Most High said, no. You can't just look at what you're seeing and think that's the case. You have to dive deeper. And that's a problem with us in many subjects. We go just off the surface of what we see, and we have no idea what is truly in the core, because we don't desire to want to look at the core. And that's what the Most High is saying. You're looking from what you see. I'm going from what's within. We have the ability to do that as well, not on a level of the Most High, but questions, sincerity in those questions. But let's keep going. Psalms 26, 1-12 says, vindicate me, O Yah, for I have walked in my integrity, and I have trusted in Yah without wavering. Prove me, O Yah, and try me. Test my heart and my mind. For your steadfast love is before my eyes, and I walk in your faithfulness. I do not sit with men of falsehood, nor do I consort with hypocrites. I hate the assembly of evildoers, and I will not sit with the wicked. I wash my hands in innocence and go around your altar, O Yah, proclaiming thanksgiving aloud and telling all your wondrous deeds, O Yah. I love the habitation of your house and the place where your glory dwells. Do not sweep my soul away with sinners, nor my life with bloodthirsty men, in whose hands are evil devices, and whose right hands are full of bribes. But as for me, I shall walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be gracious to me. My foot stands on level ground. In the great assembly, I will bless Yah. This is very important. Some believe that Psalms 26 is before what happened with David. I'm one of those that believe it's after. And maybe I'll speak on that on another live or another lesson as to why I believe it is. All right, let's keep going. Yehoshua 24, 14-15 says, now therefore fear Yah and serve him in sincerity. Didn't I just say that earlier? I said that a couple slides before. Sincerity is one of the biggest pieces. Now here's the part, here's a duality with that though, because somebody can be sincere in doing something and still doing it false or wrong, I should say. So that sincerity has to have a balance involved in it. It says sincerity and in faithfulness. How are you being faithful? In order to be faithful, you have to have an understanding of what's being taught. You can't be faithful to something that you have no understanding about. You can't be faithful to something if you don't know the core instrumentation of what was put in place. Other than that, you're being faithful to yourself. So we have to continue to grow to get this understanding, right? It says, put away the deities that your fathers served beyond the river and Mizraim, or Egypt, and serve Yah. And if it is evil in your eyes to serve Yah, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the deities of your father served in the region beyond the river, or the deities of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my home or my house, we will serve Yah. Each and every one of these is supposed to kick off our day, each and every day. It's letting us know who we are. What are we going to do? What are we put here to do? We want to make sure that we serve the Most High and make sure that our home is doing so as well. All right? Make me to know your ways, O Yah. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the Elohim of my salvation. For you I will wait all the day long. Remember your mercy, oh yeah, and your steadfast love, for they have been from old. Remember not the sins of my youth or my transgressions according to your steadfast love. Remember me for the sake of your goodness, right? He wants to be taught his ways, not the ways around him. His paths, not the paths that are around him. The Most High's truth, not the truth that everyone claims to have. All right? Let's go to the next one. 2 more to go, and then we're going to get started. Yirmiyahu 29, Jeremiah 29, 11 to 13 says, For I know the plans I have for you, declares Yah, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. That's the only way, right? When you seek me, when you request me with all your heart. I won't go too much into that. Psalms 96, 1 through 4 says, Oh, sing to Yah a new song. Sing to Yah, all the land, sing to Yah. Bless the name, tell of the salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous works among all the peoples. For great is Yah, and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all deities. All right? You are great to be praised. I'll praise you all of my days. You are great to be praised. I will praise you all of my days. Sing to the Most High a new song each and every day, you all. Whether you believe you can sing, whether you believe you can't sing, sing to the Most High. And this is why we put those scriptures to start off our day. So please go back, write them down, implement it in your daily readings. I would say read it before you get your day started and sing to the Most High. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Without further ado, the lesson of today, or the discussion, right? Even the righteous must pay. We're going to be in the book of 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 1, 1 Kings chapter 1. And we're going to start off at verse 5. All right. We're going to be in the book of 2 Samuel as well, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be a very interesting discussion. Hopefully it's something that's said that provokes thought and change. So let's begin. Let me go ahead and share the screen so you all can see it. Oh, before we get started, you all, one last thing. I will revisit this again after the lesson as well, but I want to show it beforehand. So a false balance is an abomination to the Most High, right? That was the first thing that we read. So the scripture often in each time that we were in speaks on not only what we eat, but also our spirit and our health, right? And fitness. It speaks on it. So we are starting on this wrong one. That's going to be next. This, oh, actually, I didn't bring it out. Okay. This Sunday, you all, Yom Rishon, we're starting a 3-day, 3-month challenge. And that is for us to do a 30-minute walk, 30-minute brisk walk, or a 30-minute jog, right? Whichever you prefer. Of course, make sure you go to your speak with your doctor or anything like that if you have any things that's that could be hindering you, that could harm you. But that's one of the that's the challenge that we're doing. In that challenge, that's not it. We want you to be able to drink the amount of water that applies with your body weight. Most of us are not drinking enough water. And then also implement your fruit and your vegetables. A lot of us don't eat that daily as well. So at least we're putting a challenge out there that can help us, right? Make sure we're eating properly as far as vegetables, fruit, and water. It's not taking away from what you're already eating, but it's trying to implement that. And also water and walking. So I'll put that up here. If you want to be a part of the challenge, make sure you come type this in your notes right now, or type it in once we're done and go back and watch it, and you can get into our WhatsApp group, and we're going to be encouraging, holding each other accountable. It starts this Yom Rishon. You don't want to miss it, all right? Next, we are getting started with a prayer call, right? Lift the tefillah, right? Lift the tefillah. So that's going to be a call to prayer. That's going to be every third day. So that's Yom Shalishi. On Yom Shalishi at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have a prayer call and a reading, all right? A prayer call and a reading every third day. And lastly, before we get started, we have a fast that we do each week. If you want to join this, go ahead and do it. The fast starts at 3 p.m. Monday until 3 p.m. Tuesday. This is every week, all right? A midweek fast. We want to make sure we reset our bodies, reset our mind, reset our spirit, and truly take on that day on meditation, prayer, right? Go through your scripture and just kind of really focus on yourself that day. Really getting recharged midweek, all right? So those are the things that Beit Mazan Ministries is implementing, and you don't have to be a part of Beit Mazan Ministries to do it. You can be a part of another organization or not be a part of any. We just want to make sure that we're encouraging and putting things out there that can help build our community, help strengthen our mind, our body, and our spirit. So please join us on that 3-day, 3-month challenge of walking, drinking water, fruits and vegetables, 3 days a week, and join us on a prayer call starting this Tuesday, 7 a.m., and also the fast. Let's begin, you all. If you're just coming in, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe if you have yet to do so. All right. So we're in the book of 1 Kings. Some of you are familiar with Adoniah or Adonijah in English. This is the son, all right, the son of David. We're about to tap into this story and see if we could pull out certain things that can improve our life, okay? We'll start at verse 5. Let's get ready to start at verse 5. Give me a second. Give you all a little time to like and subscribe and share if you haven't. All right, let's begin. Verse 5. It says, "Now Adoniah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he prepared for himself chariots and a horseman and 50 men to run before him." So it's like, okay, why are we jumping right into this? This is important. You have someone that is one of the children of David. So he's one of the princes, but he's not what they would call crown prince. But he has exalted himself. And it's a reason that he exalted himself. He jumped the gun, so much so that he has prepared for himself chariots, horsemen, men to run before him. So in order for him to have these men to run before him, that means that he has him a little, what people would call entourage, right? He has people that feel that he should be that, friends, associates. But these individuals may not run in the circle with who he's supposed to go to get that position. And a lot of us, we do that today. We jump the gun. We move quickly. We put ourselves in positions and weren't put in that position. And that continues to add to the downfall of us. Because now when we're putting ourselves in that position, now we have all these people that we're stringing along, and it's causing more to create doctrines, not having a great understanding of culture, not understanding structure, because we have not operated in structure. And that's what he did. That's what Adoniah did, right? It said his father had never at any time displeased him or reprimanded him by asking, why have you done thus and so? So we have David or Dawid, some of you may say Dawid. He never asked him, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. This was one of his golden children, right? Or he was just too busy. And it says something for those of us that are men of our homes. We have wives, we have children. We have to make sure that we're present as much as possible, right? To the best of your ability. We have to make sure we do that. Even in the midst of the work that we are doing, we have to do that, because this thing that took place with Adoniah more than likely could have been stopped. Okay, that's not to say that it never, it always works that way, but it's letting us know here in the scripture that he never did it. All right, it said he was also a very handsome man, and he was born next after Absalom, or Absalom, some will say. So he was handsome, right? Remember we went to Samuel when it was talking about do not go off of the appearance, but the Most High searched within. So a lot of people probably was flocking to Adoniah due to this, him being handsome, right? And then being also a prince, a son of David the king, or Dawid the king, right? But it's bringing something out here, because it says also. So that means it was someone else as well that was categorized as such. But let's keep reading. We're going to see. All right. Second. He conferred with Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they followed Adoniah and helped him. So Joab, we're going to find out who Joab is. We see these little cliques that happens. When we read the script, we should see that it's always been those little cliques, whether it's righteous and righteous cliques or righteous and unrighteous cliques. But it's nothing new. So when we're seeing that here in B'nai Yisrael, we shouldn't be discouraged from a standpoint of saying, well, this is never going to work. It's always been this case. It's only been a remnant within the remnant. And I'm always going to say that. So we have Joab and Abiathar conspiring against Dawid. And we're going to see that. I'm going to show you that. Okay. So they followed Adoniah and helped him. But Zadok the priest, Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and Nathan or Nathan the prophet, and Shimei and Ra and Dawid's mighty men were not with Adoniah. Why is that important? Because we know, and they knew, that Nathan, they should really go off of what Nathan the prophet is, what's the word I want to say? Is agreeing with. That's not the word I want to use. But he's agreeing with. Why? Because he's the prophet of the Most High. And if he's the prophet of the Most High, then who he goes and attach himself to is probably the people that you want to be under. Okay? Adoniah sacrificed sheep, watch this, oxen, and fattened cattle by the serpent's stone, which is beside En Rogel, and he invited all his brothers, the king's sons, so the other princes, and all the royal officials of Judah, the ones that acted in offices that held certain positions, right? They was impressionable. They held certain positions. But notice this. He did not invite Nathan or Nathan the prophet, or Benaiah, or the mighty men, or Shlomo, his brother. Why wasn't he doing that? He jumped the gun. He thought himself to be the one that's supposed to be the king, right? But he didn't want to involve the ones who was already looked at as such. All right. Okay. So we also know that he called individuals that was on the outskirts of who were in leadership to come. And you got to think of it too. These individuals worked or was under the very people that he didn't call. It's going to be a pattern, and I'm going to explain that later why I'm saying that portion. These individuals they were under the very people that he did not invite. First of all, he knew he couldn't invite them. But he didn't invite them also because these individuals were under him. Watch. Let's keep going. Then Nathan said to Bathsheba, the mother of Shlomo, have you not heard that Adoniah, the son of Haggith, has become king, and David, our master, does not know it? Right? So David or Dawid is not, he doesn't understand what's even happening right now, right? Right now he's sick. We didn't read the first 4 verses, but he's at the latter part of his years. But it's still order. It's certain order to go by before someone getting ordained or established in a position. And Adoniah didn't fit that. He didn't go about going in that direction. He didn't go through the structure at all. And one of the structure, or part of the structure, is to go to elders or those in positions that are over you before you get the position that you're desiring to have. All right, let's keep reading. It says, now therefore come, let me give you advice, that you may save your own life and the life of your son Shlomo. So this is Nathan telling Bathsheba, look, let me tell you what to do. And this is going to put you in a position that you're going to remain alive, right? Because when Adoniah becomes king, he's going to be removing everyone. You don't want anyone that is against you to be a part of the office. It says, go in at once to King David and say to him, did you not, my master the king, swear to your servant, saying, Shlomo, your son, shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? Why then is Adoniah king? Right? So he's telling her to go. See, look, a lot of the prophets were strategic. And you have an old king, his patience, temper, whatever it might be, it may not be the same, even if he is the prophet. David respects the prophets. Understand that. We understand that. But it's a reason why he's sending her in there first. Why didn't he just go in there? Right? He's a prophet, so he would have listened to him. Why did he send Bathsheba in there? Let's find out. Then while you are still speaking with the king, I also will come in after you and confirm your words. It's something about confirmation, whether it's truth or whether it's lies. It's always, when you have 2 or 3 people confirming something, then it's more likely that that person will believe you, even whether it's a truth or whether it's a lie. So Nebi Nathan, or the prophet Nathan, he knew that I'm going to come behind you and I'm going to solidify it because I'm prophet of the Most High. And you are a Isha, or a wife of this king, so you could kind of soften him up, right, before I come in, right? So let's keep going. It says, then while you are speaking with the king, I also will come in and after you and confirm your words. So Bathsheba went to the king. Pay attention, you all. She went to the king in his chamber. Now the king was very old, and Ashabag, the Shubonite, was attending to the king. Bathsheba bowed, right, and paid homage. So some people will look at this as though, okay, he's laying on the bed. He's lying on the bed. So, maybe I need to get down a little bit so I can be eye to eye. Realistically, some of us have been in hospitals, as I have family and or friends in hospitals, and we technically didn't always bow down. Right? We may have got a seat and sat down, or we may have stood up. Right? So not only did she bow, but she paid homage. So it was a certain respect that even the Isha of her, not only her husband, but her king, it was a certain respect that that was given to him. And this isn't just me pushing that the women should give their men respect. We're going to see as the stories go, because this is going to probably be a part 2 to this. We're going to see the opposite as well, if we don't see it today already. What do you desire? right? So he said, pay homage to the king. And the king said, what do you desire? She said to him, my master, I don't need. You swore to your servant by Yah, your Elohim, saying, Shlomo, your son, shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. So, first of all, she's calling him Adoni. That's what the text says in Hebrew, which is, it's a couple different meanings. I'm not going to go into it because it could rub people the wrong way. But she also said, you swore to your servant. So what is this wife of his supposed to be to him? And then also, what is he supposed to be to her? It's not one-sided. But this idea and this verbiage is important, this servitude that we are supposed to be towards one another. She said, your servant, right? By Yah, your Elohim, saying, Shlomo, your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. And now, behold, Adonai is king, although you, my master, or Adoni, the king, do not know it. You have no idea. He has sacrificed all oxen, fattened cattle, and sheep in abundance, and has invited all the sons of the king. So we know this is not true. Well, she's gonna finish that statement. But all the sons of the king, so all these other princes, all the other sons are in agreement with Adonai. This is interesting. Your own family. Why is it that the family of David is going against his kingship and going opposite of what he has established, the next in line? So she said, he has invited all the sons of the king, Abiathar the priest, and Joab, the commander of the army. This is heavy. You got the commander of his army, but Shlomo, Solomon, your servant, he has not invited. All right. And now, my master, the king, the eyes of all Israel are on you to tell them who shall sit on the throne of my master, the king, after him. All right. Otherwise, it will come to pass when my lord, the king, sleeps with his fathers, that I and my son Shlomo will be counted offenders. As I stated earlier, typically when someone comes in power and they come in power unrighteously, they're going to remove the people that was a part of that structure before them, because it's a chance that those people are going to come against you. Right? Let's keep going. While she was still speaking with the king, Nathan the prophet came in, and they told the king, here's Nathan the prophet. And when he came in before the king, he bowed before the king with his face to the ground. You know what's interesting? We treat, as a people, especially today in society, the Most High less than we'll treat a human being. We reverence a human being less than we reverence the Most High. We see that Nathan, the prophet, the mouth of the Most High, he knew to come before a king and put his face to the ground. What do you think he does to the Most High? Most High forbid that he doesn't even so at least the same respect that he does to the earthly king. This isn't to tell any one of you that's watching this that you only are supposed to put your face to the ground when you come before the Most High. Well, that's not to say that we prayed in different ways, but we had a certain reverence. We approached the Most High a certain way. We requested to come before the Most High. Why would we request to come before an earthly king, right? His wife requested to come before an earthly king, being David. David is the earthly king, requested. And then they come and show homage, bow before him. The prophet does the same thing, but we don't feel we need to request to come before the Most High. These things are important. And the very structure, the lack of structure that we're having, and they had back then as well, is because we don't understand how we should approach the Most High, how we're supposed to approach those that are in office under the Most High. These things are very important. And for those that may not even really be trying to hear what I'm saying right now, it may sound like, okay, well, I'm not going before or believing in some leader. Most governmental structure, the reason they are thriving is because they have that respect of those people in office and leadership. The ones that fail and get broken down or do not succeed in where they're trying to go are the ones that don't follow that structure. What we're seeing with Adoniah. Adoniah is not following the structure. Watch what happens though. Let's keep going. And Nathan said, my master, the king, have you said Adoniah shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? For he has gone down this day and has sacrificed oxen, fattened cattle, and sheep in abundance. And he has invited all the king's sons, the commanders of the army, and Abiathar the priest. And behold, they are eating and drinking before him and saying, long live Adoniah. Now, for those of us, we might think that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, you all do the sacrifice, right? This seems like it's a part of the culture. You're supposed to invite everyone, the commanders of the armies, right? And you're supposed to be merry, have some drinks, and then say, long live the king. We done saw that in TV shows and all that. That's a pattern that has been going on all across the world, ancient Near East, all of the above. But it's still some steps that's missing. Let's keep reading. But me, your servant, and Zadok the priest, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and your servant Shlomo, he has not invited. So his son is considered his servant. His son, according to Hebraic understanding, according to the scripture, we see that the son is the servant of the king. We see that the wife is the servant of the king. We see that everyone is the servant of the king. But what is a righteous king supposed to be to the people? Serving to the people as well. It's supposed to be a balance. Let's keep going. Has this thing been brought about my master the king, and you have not told your servants who should sit on the throne of my master the king after him? Then King David, watch this, answered, call Bathsheba to me. So she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. So this time she came and she stood. It's something that we teach, Mazan, we teach as far as like when elders come in, right? This is in Leviticus chapter, Wa'ikra, chapter 19. When the elders come in, those of good name, right? Not only elders, not only Zakanim dealing with the age, but those of good name as well. When they come in, we're supposed to rise. But you don't have to rise every time they leave and come in. Every time they leave and come in, because that would be tiring. And that's not what it is. It's just that when you see them for that first time, right, in that first moment, that's when you're supposed to rise. Many of us don't do that. Many of us that's within this walk as Bnei Yisrael, we do not do that. We're not seeing that on a large scale. But we do give that respect when we go before judges in the U.S., when we go to court. All rise and everyone rises. They understand it. They took what it is in our Torah and they implemented. Most cultures have done that. They understand that. So why am I using this as an example? First of all, we see that it says, then King David answered, and he said, call Bathsheba to me. Wait a minute, where did she go? Didn't she already come in? She went in there, she bowed, she paid homage, right? And then it said nothing else about her. After she did the speaking with him, and then the prophet Nathan came in, she was gone. So that means what? She left. I want to say something, but I'm not. It's not for everyone just yet. But just look at the fact. She was there, she was gone, and then she was called back in there. But this time, she stood before the king. She didn't pay homage again. She didn't bow again. That's the concept of Leviticus 19 as well. But let's keep going. And the king swore, saying, as Yahweh lives, who has redeemed my soul out of every adversity. So now we're getting somewhere. Why is it that his son, the prince, is beginning to do all these things that we're reading right now? Why is the commanders going against him? Right? Some of you may know it already. Some of you may not. We're going to find out as we continue to go. But he says, who has redeemed my soul out of every adversity. As I swore to you by Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, saying, Shlomo, your son, shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. Even so will I do this day. So he's going to be removing himself from the position. He's getting it started this very day. All right. I wanted to say something else. So just in case you think I was making something up, or just going off the top, and I hope you all don't believe that. Think of when Abraham was being visited by the Malachim, right? Remember, Sarai was not in the same room. We heard her laughing, right? But she was outside of the room. It's certain customs or structure when it's dealing with talking to the messengers of the Most High, right? You have a man present, or a king present, or a leader of the community present. Typically, it's kind of like a regular job, right? So they might take the people that are in positions within the company in the room, another room, to have a meeting. And those things, those conversations, is only supposed to be for them. That same concept is the concept we're seeing here. All right. Let's continue. So then Bathsheba bowed with her face to the ground and paid homage to the king and said, may my master, King David, live forever. All right. King David said, call to me Zadok, the priest, Nathan, the prophet, and Benaiah, the son of I never can say that word. Jehoiada. So they came before the king. So we see they're going in and out. Everyone is not just standing before him. As he's speaking to someone, they're leaving. As he's finishing up with this person, that person leaves, brings the next one in. All right. And the king said to them, take with you the servants of your master, and have Shlomo, my son, ride on my own mule, and bring him down to Gihon. So we know that wasn't done by Adonai. And let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet there anoint him king over Yisrael. So there's an anointing process that was not done with Adonai. You got to understand this. Even those of us that's in this truth, we are giving ourselves titles, and we have not been brought in that title, in that office. We haven't been brought in that office. This is our culture. This is how the structure is. But you know what we're doing? We're doing the same thing that Adonai did. We're putting ourselves in position, and we're not following the structure. We're not following the customs. So he's having him ride on a mule and bring him to Gihon. Gihon, it's a reason he's having him go to Gihon, because Adonai went to a private spot and got some people to come with him. He didn't go before everyone. Gihon is in front of everyone. So what does that mean? When you're being put in this position, it should be in an environment to where you're getting presented before people, that you are in this position as well. All right. Then he says, and let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet there anoint him king. Okay. Then blow the trumpet and say, long live King Shlomo. So no trumpet was blown for Adonai. It was just long live the king. So these was the steps that was involved with becoming king or coming to some position. Right? Adonai did not do that. Okay. Let's see if I want to stay in this chapter. Let's keep going. You shall then come up after him, and he shall come and sit on my throne, for he shall be king in my place. So it's going to be a switch at this moment. And I have appointed him to be ruler over Bnei Yisrael and over Yehuda. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada answered the king, so be it. May Yahweh the Elohim of my master, the king, say so. And Yahweh has been with my master, the king, even so may he be with Shlomo, and make his throne greater than the throne of my master, King David. So Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites went down and had Shlomo ride on King David's mule and brought him to Gahan. There, Zadok the priest took the horn of oil from the tent and anointed Shlomo. There should be an anointing process. Then they blew the trumpet, and all the people said, long live King Shlomo. And all the people went up after him, playing on pipes and rejoicing with great joy, so that the earth was split by their noise. All right? Adonai and all the guests who were with him heard it as they finished feasting. And when Joab heard the sound of the trumpet, he said, what does this uproar in the city mean? While he was still speaking, behold, Jonathan the son of Abiathar, the priest, came. And Adonai said, come in, for you are a worthy man, and bring good news. All right? Jonathan answered Adonai, no, for our master, King David, has made Shlomo king. You got to think. Some people that read this may say, okay, well, why did this process even happen? We're going to find out that reason in 1 second. But even if that reason wasn't the case, it's another reason. David never reprimanded Adonai. He was a spoiled prince. He never got reprimanded, according to what the scripture said. So he was entitled. And there's a lot of entitlement, always has been and still is today within us as a people. And the king has sent with him Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites. And they had him ride on the king's mule. And Zadok the priest, Nathan, I read that already. All right. Solomon sits on the royal throne. Moreover, the king's servants came to congregate or congratulate our master, King David, saying, may your Elohim make the name of Shlomo more famous than yours, and make his throne greater than your throne. And the king bowed himself to the bed. Right? So, really quickly, this could be one or two things. It's a school of thought that believes that he bowed himself on the bed to pray before the Most High. And I believe that's true. It's another school of thought that says that he bowed himself before Shlomo since he's the new king. But before we keep going now, I want to bring something out. On this verse, it says, may your Elohim make the name of Shlomo more famous than yours. I always harp on this. Why is it that, and granted, in Hebrew, it does not say, may your Elohim. It just says, may Elohim. I want to make that clear. But the translators, I believe they said, may your Elohim for a reason. We're going to find out as we continue reading. But before we get there, I'm just going to say most of Israel, a lot of Israel, were not moving righteously all the time. And they understood they wasn't. Even though they knew they're the children of Israel, they're the children of the Most High, they should be. They always came before a king that was righteous or a prophet that was righteous, and they would say, your Elohim. They wouldn't say ours. Why wouldn't they say our Elohim? The reason they wouldn't is because they understood and they were humble enough to understand that this man or woman of the Most High had it together just a little bit more. They had a different relationship with the Most High, and they was humble to do that. They would actually come to these individuals and ask these individuals to pray for them versus even praying on behalf of themselves. It's deep. Some will say it's not that deep. But this was a part of the culture. This was the custom. This was the understanding. All right. And the king also said, "Blessed be Yah, the Elohim of Israel." So see, he says the Elohim of Israel. Why are they saying go to your Elohim? It's a cultural thing. All right. Who has granted someone to sit on thy throne this day, my own eyes seeing it. So he's in his old age period right now, and he's able to see not only someone taking the throne, not taking it, but becoming a part of the throne or becoming king, but he was able to see his son become king. He's in old age, right? It says, then all the guests of Adoniah trembled and rose, and each went his own way. Adoniah feared Solomon. Why? Because he just committed treason according to their law. That's what he did. So he arose and went and took hold of the horns of the altar. Then it was told to Shlomo, behold, Adoniah fears King Shlomo, or Solomon. It says, for behold, he has laid hold of the horns of the altar, saying, why is he laying hold of the horns of the altar? Because he believes that it's safe if he do it. He won't be harmed. He knows how everyone feels about the altar of the Most High. Let King Shlomo swear to me first that he will not put his servant to death with the sword. He's calling himself a servant again. Everyone's a servant. And Shlomo said, if he will show himself a worthy man, not one of his hairs shall fall to the earth. Keep that in mind, you all. But if wickedness is found in him, he shall die. This is important. We have someone that was going to usurp him to become king. And if he would have became king, he would have tried to kill King Solomon and his mother and anyone that was in support of him. But you have Shlomo that gave, that showed mercy to him, knowing that this was going to be the case. A lot of us don't show each other any type of mercy. I'm not saying if someone does you wrong, that you got to become best friends with them. But there is a such thing as mercy in different subjects, right? It's different. There's a lot of subjects I could bring up in regards to this, but I'm just putting out the fact that you have this man that gave him mercy when he was going to most likely be killed. He got usurped, and he still was able to show that. But he did put something in place. He said, but if wickedness is found in him, he shall die. So mercy can be given, but some things needs to be put in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. And if it does happen, then what's supposed to take place due to what was done can go forward, right? So King Solomon sent, and they brought him down from the altar, and he came and paid homage to King Shlomo. And Solomon said to him, go to your house. This whole chapter we have read at least 3 or 4 times where these individuals was coming before the king, bowing and paying homage. All right? Continuously doing so. These are the things that we need to look at when we're coming before our king, Most High. We should learn from this, learn from these patterns, learn from the cultural understanding of presenting ourselves before a king, and implement it. All right. We're going to get ready to go to the next chapter. Not the next chapter of 1 Kings, but we're going to 2 Samuel chapter 12. Keep in mind the things that we brought out with Nathan or Nathan. Remember in this chapter, Nathan, he knew off bat who Shlomo was supposed to be. Also, he sent Bathsheba before the king strategically, right? Before he came in there. So pay attention to the patterns of this prophet, Nathan. All right, let's go to 2 Samuel. For those that's tuning in right now, if you haven't done so, please like, share, and subscribe. If there's anything that's being said that may be new to you, or anything that's being said that may be, elaborating a little bit more on things that you already knew, just go ahead and support. Any comments, any questions, go ahead and ask them. If I'm able to answer it, I definitely will. But make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe. All right, here we go. So now we're about to get into why is it that these princes, all of the princes of David, is technically going against David. Why is his sons going against him? Let's read. Let's read 1 second. Let me move this to the side. All right. And Yah sent Nathan to David. This is the same prophet. He came to him and said to him, there were 2 men in a certain city, the one rich and the other poor. All right. So this prophet is coming before him because of something that David did. David basically got Uriah the Hittite murdered. Uriah the Hittite was the husband of Bathsheba. Now, the scripture says that David did all things right in the eyes of the Most High, except the matter concerning Uriah the Hittite. Keep that in mind. It's a school of thought. There's some teachers out there that are saying that David was a horrible person, right? I've had discussions with a couple people, and the scripture says something totally different. But the matter concerning Uriah the Hittite, it was a few things that took place. He tried to manipulate Uriah the Hittite. He tried to make sure that Uriah the Hittite went home to lay with his wife, because his wife was already pregnant by David. He put him in the front line to get murdered. It was a lot of different things that he was doing that was wicked, that was unrighteous, that was not the normal David. And that is what is happening right now. This is what Nathan is saying or coming to him and bringing a parable before him. All right, verse 2. The rich man had very many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing but one little ewe lamb, which he had bought. And he brought it up, just so I can see. And he brought it up and grew up with him and with his children. It used to eat of his morsel and drink from his cup and lie in his arms, and it was like the slaughter to him. Now there came a traveler to the rich man, and he was unwilling to take one of his own flock or herd to prepare for the guests who had come to him. But he took the poor man's lamb and prepared it for the man who had come to him. Then David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. See, this is a lot of us today. Let's keep reading though. And he said to Nathan, as Yahweh lives, the man who has done this very thing or done this deserves to die. So David got extremely angry. When things are outside of us, we'll look at that and we can understand what's happening. We can get it. We could get angry at what's taking place or what we're seeing. But we could be doing the very same thing, but we won't hold ourselves accountable when it's happening. And we won't do what David was about to do right now. He was a different individual. There are individuals out there that's just like him today, righteous, right? So I'm not saying this as though he's the only person out there that's like this, but many of us are not like this at all. So he got angry. He got angry, greatly kindled against that man in the story, right? As the Most High lives, this man who has done this deserves to die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold because he did this thing and because he had no pity. Nathan said to David, you are that man. Thus says Yahweh, the Elohim of Yisrael, I anointed you king over Israel, or Yisrael, and I delivered you out of the hand of Saul. And I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your arms, and gave you the house of Israel and of Yehudah. And if this were too little, I would add to you as much more. All right. First of all, with the prophet Nathan, we see something, a pattern that he does, and he's very strategic, right? This prophet he did this in 1 Kings when we was reading it, sending Bathsheba before him, right? It was a strategy. And this same thing is what Nathan did here with David. It was a strategy. He didn't want to just outright bring it out to David, but it was strategized. And he got him to really get emotional, invested in what's being said to him, to get him to understand. Sometimes you got to bring something outside of you or outside of what you're trying to present for the person to understand it. And that's what Nathan did. But he told him, I would have gave you more if it was little. You already had your master's wives. That's Shaul, right? He's talking about Shaul, wives. And you took someone else's. If you would have asked, I would have gave you more. This isn't to promote polygyny, and this isn't to remove polygyny, by the way. But this is, thus says the Most High Yah. So the whole argument should be done. But he would have done so. Why have you despised the word of Yah? It says, why have you despised the word of Yah to do what is evil in his sight? You have struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and have taken his wife to be your wife and have killed him with the sword of the Ammonites. You put him before the Ammonites. You didn't even have to do this. You had all of this. We become greedy in so many different things. We can be doing great for ourselves. And as soon as we see someone doing something that we already did, but they're doing it in a better fashion, maybe they have something that you don't have, we'll sit up here and try to take their things. So he's going against the word of Yah. How? Because he already knows the word of Yah, Torah. He knows what the Torah says. He knows how we're supposed to operate as B'nai Israel. Now, therefore, the word shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Right? So now, therefore, the sword. So now we're getting the reason. We're getting the understanding as to why in 1 Kings, what we were reading, why are all of his children, the princes, going against him? Why is Adoniah plotting against him? If this isn't enough for you, we're going to learn some more things in just a second. Because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. You have despised me. So the scripture is saying you have despised me. If we're going against the Most High, we are despising the Most High. If we're not doing the commandments in which he has given through the Torah, we despise him and the very things that he has put in place by his prophets. Thus says Yah, behold, I will raise up evil against you out of your own house. Evil. And I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor. Give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of this sun. All right, you all. I want you to remember this verse. He said he's going to give them to his neighbor. All right? Keep that in mind. For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. David said to Nathan, I have sinned against Yahweh. And Nathan said to David, Yah also has put away your sin. You shall not die. Some will say, well, it's because he's king. That's why he didn't die. Okay, I understand that point of view. But the problem is, David didn't do what other kings would do, and that's kill the prophet and kill the people that want to implement the laws that we're supposed to do or that he's supposed to do. Kill the people that's enforcing it. David didn't do that at all. What he did is he actually repented. He actually admitted his sin, right? Even though he didn't do it before Prophet Nathan came, but he's doing it before the prophet. And if you're doing it before the prophet, you're doing it before the Most High. I have sinned against Yah. And at that very moment, he was told, the Most High has put away your sin. You shall not die. So you're going to live. But there is a but. There is a consequence, which many of us are not experiencing in this path of this walk. Those of us that's using the scriptures as our life or our livelihood that we claim, right? I'm not saying it in a bad way. We're claiming it, correct? The very moment we do something against what Torah is saying, we don't have any consequences put on us because we're not a part of anyone, no organization. We're not part of any structure. We're not a part of any accountability, no elders or nothing like that can hold us to what's happening, that could correct us, that could teach us, or that could reprimand us. So what's happening to David right now, a lot of us are not feeling it. And I'm talking about in real time. But we still will. If we believe in this Supreme King, we still will feel it. He says, nevertheless, because by this deed you have utterly scorned Yah, the child who is born to you shall die. Then Nathan went to his house, and Yahweh afflicted the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and he became sick. David therefore sought Elohim on behalf of the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night on the ground. And the elders of his house stood beside him to raise him from the ground, but he would not, nor did he eat food with him. On the seventh day the child died, and the servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, behold, while the child was yet alive, we spoke to him, and he did not listen to us. How then can we say to him, the child is dead? He may do himself some harm, right? So they saw how he was when the child was alive, but they were not in the mind of David. David was on a different level. He understood, okay, I know that the Most High is a merciful power. I know that he's forgiving. Maybe, just maybe, he would pull it back, pull it away, let the child live. So I'm going to do the things as a part of my culture. I'm going to do what I was taught, what I understood to be that we should do. I'm going to fast. I'm going to pray. I'm going to continue to inquire of the Most High. I'm not even going to eat. But the men of his home, the servants, they didn't understand that, which they should have, which lets us know something too. Everyone that's a part of Bnei Israel is not going to know or have an understanding of how the culture works, even if they're close to someone or know someone that actually exhibits it in front of them. But when David saw that his servants was whispering together, David understood that the child was not alive. He was dead. And David said to his servants, is the child dead? They said, he is dead. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his clothes. And he went into the house of Yahweh and worshiped. Right? So after this child is not here any longer, he cleaned himself up and he still went to worship and praise the Most High. He still went to worship and praise the Most High because he understands how things go when it comes to life. And this was passed down to Shlomo, as we're going to see. We may not see it today, but if you read some of his writings, you'll see it. He then went to his own house, and when he asked, they set food before him, and he ate. Then his servant said to him, "What is this thing that you have done? You fasted and wept for the child while he was alive. But when the child died, you arose and ate food." He said, "While the child was still alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, for who knows whether the Most High will be gracious to me, that the child may live," as I said earlier. But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I should go to him, but he will not return to me. Right? That child has went back to the Most High. The spirit of that child has returned to the Most High because that was his spirit to begin with. Then David comforted his wife. So at this point, after he got done talking with them, he went right to comfort his wife, Bathsheba, and went into her and lay with her. So they did the grown-up thing. And she bore a son, and he called his name Shlomo. And the Most High loved him. Keep that in mind. The Most High loved him and sent a message by Nathan the prophet. So he called his name Yedidiah because of Yahweh, beloved of Yah. That's what Yedidiah or Jedidiah means, beloved of Yah. So that's both of his names. Just in case those of you that's watching didn't know that, you can call Shlomo either one of them. One of them is actually from the Most High, and it's actually Yedidiah. But I want to paint the picture. Remember in 1 Kings chapter 1, when we was reading it, and Nathan said something about Shlomo. He literally said something about Solomon was going to be the one to be on the throne. Why? Because Nathan understood that the Most High loved this child. That is why he sent Bathsheba in there before him. That is why he had her say those words. He told her what to say that can bring to the memory or bring to David's memory. He was an older man. All right. So in this chapter, one of the things I want you all to pay attention to was he said that his neighbor will take his wives, you all. Keep that in mind. He said that his neighbor was going to take his wives. We're about to go into another chapter, chapter 13. Got to go to the next chapter. For those tuning in, if you haven't done so, please make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure that you share, especially go back to the beginning. We spoke on some things that's happening starting this here on Michonne. It's going to be for our health, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Going to help us, help you and those that want to be involved. So please watch the video again, or at the end of this video, I'll make sure, this live, I'll make sure that I go back over it so you can hear it. All right, we're going to the next chapter. This is important. I actually wasn't going to go through this chapter, but I think it's important because it's going to paint a picture of what the Most High Yah was saying to David as far as his whole entire house. So we wasn't going to read on Amnon and Tamar, but we're going to go ahead and do it. Here we go. Now Absalom, David's son, had a beautiful sister whose name was Tamar. Some people may say Tamar. And after a time, Amnon, David's son, loved her. All right. So this is some incest stuff. But we probably have that going on today. I know we do, you all. It's so interesting. But let's keep going. And Amnon was so tormented that he had made himself ill because of his sister Tamar. For she was a virgin, and it seemed impossible to Amnon to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very crafty man. And he said to him, O son of the king, why are you so haggard morning after morning? Will you not tell me? Amnon said to him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. All right. I'm not going to go into that. So this means that they have the same father, different mothers, due to David having multiple wives, of course. So Jonadab said to him, lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, let my sister Tamar come and give me bread to eat, and prepare the food in my sight, that I may see it and eat it from her hand. So Amnon lay down and pretended to be ill. And when the king came to see him, Amnon said to the king, please let my sister Tamar come and make a couple of cakes in my sight. So he took counsel from this individual who's crafty, and he's basically going to be saying the same thing that he said verbatim, word from word. All right, let's go down a little bit. So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house where he was lying down, and she took dough and kneaded it and made cakes in his sight and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and emptied it out before him, and he refused to eat. And Amnon said, send out everyone from me. So everyone went out from him. All right. This is why it's important to, in a book that I'm writing, can't even think of the title, but it's rules for the community. There's rules to help different matters in the community. And we see that, and what's crazy, this shouldn't apply for these two individuals. This is a brother and a sister. Even if it's a half brother, this is still a brother and a sister. But I believe that we should not leave anyone, man and woman, alone, especially if they're children. Now, these are older individuals. These are not children. But so this doesn't apply, but it's still the concept, I believe, still should be set, especially if we're trying to be righteous and as men and women, and you have two single individuals. There should be some type of guidance, some individuals there to kind of supervise them, make sure that they're walking the path that they should be walking. Because a lot of these things happen outside of the brother and the sister right here, just in general. You know, a lot of us have been through, a lot of us have done it. So if we have done it and we've been through it, we should learn from it and put something together so our children do not fail in that area. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put something together so that people won't fail in that area. All right. It says, but when she brought them near him to eat, he took hold of her and said to her, come, lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, no, my brother, do not violate me, for such a thing is not done in Israel. Do not do this outrageous thing. As for me, where could I carry my shame? And as for you, you will be as one of the outrageous fools in Israel. Now, therefore, please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you. So she's saying, at least go talk to him. I believe he would have, because this was law. This was Torah. I don't believe David would have allowed that, unless it's something that I'm missing within our understanding. But she seems to believe it, or maybe it was a tactic for her to get him to stop. But let's keep going. But he would not listen to her, and being stronger than she, he violated her and he lay with her. Now remember, you all, in the very beginning, verse 1 going down, he was in love with her. He loved her, right? Pay attention. Those is watching back, especially the women. He loved her. He was in love with her, right? But after he laid with her and he violated her, it says, then Amnon hated her with a very great hatred. So that the hatred with which the hated, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, get up, go. This is exactly why I said we should have supervision, especially for our daughters, our women, men as well. But it's a lot of people that don't believe in this culture, but they're following what you all call the Bible. They don't believe cultural understanding. They don't believe structure. They don't believe the customs. They just want to read and pick what they pick and choose. So why am I putting emphasis on protecting the daughter more? Because the daughter may find someone that does not have culture as a part of their understanding, right? So they may end up getting with someone that love them, and then as soon as they do something with that individual, now they're kicking her out. Now they don't want her. For any small thing that he doesn't like, she's gone. She's kicked out. I want a divorce. So that love talk means nothing most times. Most of you that's watching this probably has been in love before and no longer with the person that you said you love, or said they loved you. They may have left you, whatever it may be. Culture and structure is important. It is the pillar of our success. And we see even here, they had a sense of structure and culture, and people still weren't doing it. So I'm not saying it as though everyone's going to do it. It's going to be successful across the board. That's not what I'm saying. But at least intentionally implement it to see if it can work. The percentage of failure is going to go down if this is implemented more. All right. But she said to him, no, my brother, for this wrong in sending me away is greater than the other that you did to me. But he would not listen to her. So she's saying that although you did that wicked act, that was wrong, you putting me away is worse than that. This had to be a woman of the Most High. Not because of what she's going through. Not because of, I'm saying that she's willing to stay. It's more so because she understands how the community is going to look at her, how different interpretations of the law may be discussed, and how this can affect her emotionally and affect the family, right? But he's not looking at that. He doesn't care to look at it. He doesn't care about the repercussions that may happen, the consequences. And guess what? We're doing the same thing today. He called the young woman or the young man who served him and said, put this woman out of my presence, and bolt the door after her. He just threw her away. And she wasn't a random woman. She was his sister. The very first few verses, he said, I loved her. He said, this is my sister. All these things. This Absalom's sister. Let's keep going. Now she was wearing a long robe with sleeves, for thus were the virgin, daughters of the king dressed. So this servant put her out and bolted the door after her. And Tamar put ashes on her head and tore the long robe that she wore. And she laid her hand on her head and went away, crying aloud as she went. Hey, you think you want to know something that's interesting? I'm talking like you actually. You want to know something that's interesting? She literally did what the Torah talks about. She left and she cried out. She basically got raped. That's what happened. And her name was so important to her that she rather he not put her away. But since he said that he was going to do it, and he did it, she did the very thing that's within the law, and she cried aloud. But it's something interesting about that. Let's keep reading. And her brother Absalom said to her, has Amnon, your brother, been with you? Right? So Absalom still is addressing her as the sister of Amnon. But yet, Amnon is referring to her as some random woman. Now hold your peace, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this to heart. So Tamar lived a desolate woman in her in her brother Absalom's house. He did that on purpose because he wanted to take care of him himself. He wasn't really telling her, don't say anything from a stamp, or don't take it to heart. It's nothing. That's your brother. I know the scripture is saying that, but you got to go deeper from what we're just reading, and we got to see this was the start of his rebellion. But the problem is, or the interesting thing about all of this is this. This is all prophecy. Every last one of it, every last thing that's happening right now is prophecy of what Nathan had brought out through the Most High Yah. When King David heard of all these things, he was very angry. But Absalom spoke to Amnon, neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon because he had violated his sister Tamar. All right. Want to end with that chapter. Shalom, everyone. Those that's tuning in. Kind of quiet today, but if you have any questions, any comments, any thoughts, let us know. I'll go ahead and put you on the screen and share your comments. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. We're going to go ahead and get it going. Keep going. All right. We're going to move over to chapter 14. So I'm trying to establish really quickly, you all, the different things that has caused Dawid to be in the situation that he's in, but also trying to pick through these things what we may be witnessing ourselves, going through ourselves, all right, as a people today. Because the very thing that happened back then are the very things that's happening today in front of us, all right? So let's go ahead and go to chapter 14. Wait, actually, hold on one second. Let's stay in this chapter. All right. So after 2 full years, so remember these numbers, 2, right? 2 full years, Absalom had sheep shearers and Baal Hazor, which is near Ephraim or Ephraim, and Absalom invited all the king's sons. This begins the plotting that Absalom started to do because he was furious, not only at Amnon, but he was furious with his father. What did his father do? What did Dawid do? Was the law implemented? He said he was very angry with him. That's it. So he invites all the sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, behold, the king being his father, behold, your servant has sheep shearers. please let the king and his servants go with your servant. But the king said to Absalom, no, my son, let us not all go, lest we be burdensome to you. He pressed him, but he would not go, but gave him his blessing. Then Absalom said, if not, please let my brother Amnon go with us. And the king said to him, why should he go with you? But Absalom pressed him until he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with them. So all the king's sons are going. We don't hear anything about Amnon being dealt with by his father, David. All these things is important. It's a couple different things that can be happening as to why he didn't. He could be busy as a king and never really got around to it. I believe that it's, we got a question? Give me a second. The text, let me bring it up. Did the text explain how Absalom knew that Amnon violated his sister? Since Amnon was advised by his cousin to sleep with his sister, is it possible he is the one who told? Absalom asked her. Absalom asked her, did he lie with his sister? Now, is it possible that he heard from the cousin? Perhaps. The text doesn't bring that part out. It brings out, let me go to it. He asked her on verse 20. And her brother Absalom said to her, has Amnon, your brother, been with you? Right? And this is right after her crying aloud. So the way that I see it is he knew about her going to be there for him because he was claiming to be sick. And when she came out of where he was at, his home, she was crying aloud, and maybe the brother heard. And his first question to her was, has Absalom, your brother, been with you? So that's my take on it. But could be a chance that he could have heard from the cousin. I'm just looking at the crying aloud part. All right, let's continue. All right, verse 28. Then Absalom commanded his servants, mark when Amnon's heart is merry with wine. And when I say to you, strike Amnon, then kill him. Do not fear. Have I not commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. I'm saying that word. So the servants of Absalom did to Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and each mounted his mule, and they fled. Right? I think that's interesting how instead of fighting for their brother, now granted, he was foul, what he did. He should get reprimanded for it. But it's still structured. It's still something that's supposed to go down. We saw that when that happened with can't think right now. Yaakov, his daughter, how he was mad at Lewi and Shimon, if I'm not mistaken, Simon, and how they operated in that situation with Dinah. They wanted to get revenge, which I understand. But I believe it was more to that story, right? We're not going to get into that. I'm just trying to bring out that it's always a way of doing things. And sometimes our way of doing things is not the way that the Most High Yah wants us to do. But in this case, it is happening because the Most High Yah had told David that his whole house, his own house, is going to be against him. I'm just utilizing the other subject with Yaakov to how we are today. You know, sometimes we are pushing our own thoughts on things without going through any type of pattern, any type of structure before executing something. We're just going in that direction. We don't have any counsel. We don't come together and put something in play. These are some things that we face in our community a lot today. But let's keep going. Then the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the earth, and all his servants who were standing by tore their garments. All right? I think I skipped something. While they were on the way, news came to David. That's where we're at. Absalom has struck down all the king's sons, and not one of them is left. So now, when they flee, this is when he went and attacked them with the men that came with him as well, right? He couldn't have struck them down by himself. He had an entourage with him. Then the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the earth, and all his servants who were standing by tore their garments. But Jonadab, the son of Shemaiah, David's brother, said, "Let not my master suppose that they have killed all the young men, the king's son, for Amnon alone is dead. For by the command of Absalom, this has been determined from the day he violated his sister Tamar." All right. So he been plotting from day one when that took place. So when he was telling Tamar, no worries, and she came back to his house, I got you. He was plotting from day one. All right. Now, therefore, let not my master the king so take it to heart as to suppose that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon alone is dead. All right. All right. I want to go through this, but we may just go to that's almost over. Let's keep going. But Absalom fled, and the young man who kept the watch lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, many people were coming from the road behind him by the side of the mountain. And Jonadab said to the king, "Behold, the king's son have come, as your servant said, so it has come about." And as soon as he had finished speaking, behold, the king's sons came and lifted up their voice and wept, and the king also and all his servants wept very bitterly. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur, and David mourned for his son day after day. All right, so we see that the prophet Nathan, the Most High spoke to the prophet Nathan what was going to be taking place. We see that Adoniah, I'm in 1 Kings, so likely, Absalom went to kill one of the sons of David, and Amnon was going even within the home to just lay with the daughter, with his sister. He didn't really love her. He expressed it, but he didn't really love her, But a lot of us men today and women, but in this context, we're talking about the men, we will manipulate the woman just to get that done, and then all of a sudden we don't want them. We're kicking them out. And this is why I believe structure is really important. Having someone or some type of what's the word I'm looking for, Steve? Chaperone. Kind of foggy today. But chaperones is important. We send our children out, going to the stores, going to the malls, going to the movies, all these different things by themselves, or maybe even with a friend, and we believe that's fine. And I don't knock it fully. I get it. That's what we're accustomed to. But then a lot of things happen to them that don't need to happen to them, boys and girls alike. And I truly believe it's because we have removed chaperones. We have removed that structure or that part of our culture. Well, we always were around each other. We're starting to take on the customs and the culture of here in America and elsewhere that don't believe that needs to be the case. So we're failing heavily when it comes to situations like that, especially with our daughters. So All right. All right. What chapter? All right, let's go to chapter 14. All right, so he's been gone for a while, and he is coming back due to the commander Joab. But Joab, it's a story behind Joab. I won't bring it out today. I may bring it out later. But Joab has been trying to plot against David for a while. It's a reason behind that. The text says it a little bit, but not blatantly. You have to go into the history of Joab, see who he's related to. Look and see who he's related to, and that'll be your answer, right? Now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, I'm just going to say that, Zeruiah, knew that king's heart went out to Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa and brought from there a wise woman and said to her, pretend to be a mourner and put on mourning garments. Do not anoint yourself with oil, but behave like a woman who has been mourning many days for the dead. Go to the king and speak thus to him. So Joab put the words in her mouth, right? Told her exactly what to say. He knows David. He knows what he needs to hear, right, for this to go through. But watch this. When the woman of Tekoa came to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and paid homage. Y'all see the pattern? It's a pattern that happens when they come before a king, right? If we're calling anyone a king, and we're believing ourselves to be Bnei Yisrael, then we should follow that same pattern. And said, save me, O king. And the king said to her, what is your trouble? She answered, alas, I am a widow, my husband is dead. And your servant had 2 sons, and they quarreled with one another in the field. There was no one to separate them, and one struck the other and killed them. And now the whole clan has risen against your servant. And they say, give up the man who struck his brother, that we may put him to death for the life of his brother whom he killed. And so they will destroy the heir also. Thus they will quench my coal that is left, and leave to my husband neither name nor remnant on the face of the earth. And the king said to the woman, go to your house, and I will give orders concerning you. And the woman of Tekoa said to the king, on me be the guilt, my master the king, and on my father's house, let the king and his throne be guiltless. The king said, if anyone says anything to you, bring him to me, and he should never touch you again. Watch this though. Then she said, please let the king invoke Yahweh or Yah, your Elohim. I want to harp on that, and I continue to harp on that. This woman of Tekoa, though it doesn't say that she is of Israel, she is of Israel. All right? Though it doesn't say specifically. I'm trying to find where is. I think it's Tekoa. It will be in north. Tekoa would be in north Jerusalem. I'll find it in 1 minute, you all. Let's continue. I'll come back to it. But it's a pattern that she's following that most of the individuals within our text, right, continues to do. When they come before a king one that is righteous. When they come before a prophet, one that is righteous, or someone that's being sent by the Most High, one that is righteous, they always will say something like this: your Elohim, right? They wouldn't say our, they would say yours, all right? That the avenger of blood kill no more, and my son be not destroyed. He said, as Yah lives, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground. Then the woman said, please let your servant speak a word to my master the king. He said, speak. And the woman said, why then have you planned such a thing against the people of Elohim? For in giving this decision, the king convicts himself, inasmuch as the king does not bring his banished one, home again. We must all die. We are like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. But Elohim will not take away life. He devises means so that the banished one will not remain an outcast. Now I have come to say this to my master the king, because the people have made me afraid, and your servant thought I will speak to the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his servant. For the king will hear and deliver his servant from the hand of the man who will destroy me and my son together from the heritage of Elohim. And your servant thought the word of my master the king will set me at rest. For my master the king is like the angel or malach of Elohim to discern good and evil. While your Elohim be with you. All right. Now watch this. Then the king answered the woman, do not hide from me anything I ask you. And the woman said, let my master, the king, speak. So I'm not going to read all of this. I just want to bring out at this point, he discerned that it had to be Joab, right? So when she expressed to him that it is Joab, then he went straight to Joab, and Joab at that point was impressed that Dawood would allow him to go and retrieve Absalom. All right, I want to speed up and go down. All right, so he brought him in, but he didn't want him anywhere around him, right? He didn't want him to do anything in his presence. He wanted him to stay in his own house and not to be around him at all, right? But there is some favor that we're seeing. You know, what Absalom did or does deserve death. But I do believe that Dawood understands what is happening to him. Dawood understands what is happening to him and why it is happening to him. So that favor, though many may disagree with me when I say that, that favor that's that's happening for Absalom is due to what was prophesied. And the men and the women of the Most High never fight against what the Most High has put in place. A good example is Abraham. When Abraham was going to save Lot, right? When the people had him hostage, he went, fought, and retrieved him. But when the Most High said what was going to happen to Sodom and Gomorrah, all he did was plead with the Most High. If this happens, if it's righteous, if these many are righteous people are there, 30, 50, things like that, going all the way down to 10. And even knowing that was what the Most High was going to send to harm them and Sodom and Gomorrah, he didn't go down there to save Lot or Lot. The reason I'm bringing it up, what I'm saying is, if a man of the Most High or a woman of the Most High knows something that was decreed, that was put in place by the Most High, that is going to happen, they're not going to fight against it. They're going to let it be. And that's what I believe is happening with Dawood. When that took place with Absalom, and Absalom killed Amnon, even though in regular terms that would be just in a sense, David understood what was taking place. And the king said, let him dwell apart in his house. He is not to come into my presence. So Absalom lived apart in his own house and did not come into the king's presence. Now in all Israel, there was no one so much to be praised for his handsome appearance as Absalom. So in 1 Kings 1, when it said that Adoniah was also handsome, this was in reference of Absalom being handsome as well. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. And when he cut the hair of his head, for at the end of every year he used to cut it when it was heavy on him, he cut it. He weighed the hair of his head 200 shekels by the king's weight. There were born to Absalom 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. So he named his daughter after his sister. She was a beautiful woman. So Absalom lived 2 full years in Jerusalem without coming into the king's presence. Then Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but Joab would not come to him. And he sent the second time, but Joab will not come to him. All right. Then he said to his servant, see, Joab's field is next to mine, and he's barely there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. All right. I'm not going to read all of that. All right. So at this point, at the end of this chapter, we see that the king kissed Absalom. It's a father's love. You know how they say a woman's love. It's a father's love for his son, even though he did something horrific, right? But he has no idea what is about to happen with Absalom. All right, this is going to be the last chapter that we go through. But I wanted to bring, let me see. Yes. Yes, this is the last chapter, you all, that I wanted to get to. So a couple things I want to point out. And then we're going to stop there for today. And this will just be part 1 because it's a lot with this story that has to be brought out. Excuse me if I can get a little throat. After this, Absalom got himself a chariot and horses and 50 men to run before him. Absalom used to rise early and stand beside the way of the gate. And when any man had a dispute to come before the king for judgment, Absalom would call to him and say, from what city are you? So he was getting to know them, right? And when he said, your servant is of such and such tribe in Israel, Absalom would say to him, see, your claims are good and right, but there is no man designated by the king to hear you. So he was putting himself before the people. He was getting himself not recognized because he is a prince of the king, but building a good rapport with the people, doing what the people weren't getting done to them by the king, right? Being more this air, let me turn this out. Being more relatable, right? Getting on that good side, doing things for them, favor for them, all these different things. Anything that you could think of that a man or a woman would do to get on someone's good side to win them over. That's all he was doing. All right. Absalom would say to him, see, your claims are good and right, but there is no man designated by the king to hear you. Then Absalom would say, oh, that I were to judge in the land, then every man with a dispute or cause might come to me, and I will give him justice. So he's telling the people that they'll get the things that they want. He'll be there for them. All of these different things that people like to hear. People want someone that's in power, that's on their side, and that's not going to do anything against them. And this is what Absalom understands. All right. And whenever a man came near to pay homage to him, he will put out his hand and take hold of him and kiss him. This is not something that a king would always do, or a man or a woman of in stature. Everyone, you don't kiss and hug everyone, right? But he would do that. He did that for a certain amount of years. And I believe the amount of years is 4. The scripture says 40, okay? But there's some older manuscripts, older text that really goes into detail as to it actually being 4. They believe that it was just something that was done by mistake. All right, just a copyist error. And we're going to get to that in 1 second. I'm trying to. Then Absalom will say, let's verse 5. And wherever a man came near to pay homage to him, he would put out his hand and take hold of him and kiss him. Then thus Absalom did to all of Israel who came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And at the end of 4 years, some of your translations may say 40, Absalom said to the king, please let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed to Yahweh in Hebron. Now, I got to double check, but I do not believe that the scripture said that he made a vow to go back to Hebron. But I will double check and come back in the chat and bring that out if that's the case. But I do not believe that's the case. And if that's not the case, then he had lied on the name, on Most High's name. All right? Which is not funny, but that is what we do today often. People say, oh, I swear, even though God is not the name, but they're attributing that as the person or the creator that is within the scripture that they read. So they're saying, I swear to so-and-so. And that is what I believe that Absalom is doing here, because now at the end of 9 years, this is a total of 9 years now. If you do the math of all the years that he separated himself and came back, and now he's trying to leave again, this is the 9th year. As far as being 40 years, the reason it can't be 40 is because David didn't even reign 40 years yet. And Absalom would have had to be extremely young, right? And the span, the time span is not realistic due to that. So it has to be 4 years, and it's not 40 years. All right. For your servant vowed a vow while I lived in Geshur and Aram, saying, if Yahweh will indeed bring me back to Jerusalem, then I will offer worship to Yahweh. The king said to him, go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent secret messengers throughout all the tribes of Israel, or Yisrael, saying, as soon as you hear the sound of a trumpet, then say, Absalom is king of Hebron. With Absalom went 200 men from Jerusalem who were invited guests. They were in their innocence and knew nothing. So they had no idea of what was going to take place. And while Absalom was offering the sacrifices, he sent for Ahithophel, the Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city Gilo. And the conspiracy grew strong, and the people with Absalom kept increasing, right? And the messenger came to David saying, the hearts of the men of Israel have gone after Absalom. Then David said to all his servants who were with him at Jerusalem, arise and let us flee, or else there will be no escape for us from Absalom, right? So he's winning the hearts of so many people, and David understands that. But we're about to see something interesting. Go quickly, lest he overtake us quickly and bring down ruin on us and strike the city with the edge of the sword. And the king's servant said to the king, behold, your servants are ready to do whatever my master the king decides. So the king went out, and all his household after him, and the king left 10 concubines, which is still concubine, is concubine, but it's still a wife, to keep the house. And the king went out, and all the people after him, and they halted at the last house. Watch this. And all the servants passed by him, all his servants, all the Kerethites, and all the Pelethites, and all 600 Gittites who had followed him from Gad, passed on before the king. All right. Okay. Then the king said to Ittai, the Gittite, why do you also go with us? Go back and stay with the king, for you are a foreigner and also an exile from your home. All right. So he says he's a foreigner and an exile from his home, which is in Gath. And the Gath, or the Gathites, or the Gittites, were considered Philistines. So this individual was a Philistine. He was a foreigner, and he was exiled from his people. You came only yesterday, and shall I today make you wander about with us? Since I go, I know not where. Go back and take your brothers with you, and may Yah show steadfast love and faithfulness to you. But Ittai answered the king, as Yah lives, and as my master the king lives, wherever my master the king shall be, whether for death or for life, there also will your servant be. And David said to Ittai, go there and pass on. So Ittai the Gittite passed on with all his men and all the little ones who were with them. So this is a foreigner and an exile that is grabbing hold. So David, not only the King David, the Melech David, but also Yah. I wanted to put that perspective. Now, some may say, well, Ittai the Gittite is actually an Israelite that was living in Gath amongst the Philistines. I don't believe that to be true due to what Melech Moshe stated about him being a foreigner. Yep, this is the word for foreigner. You remember this word, Nikwe? Yep. So I had to double check. I always want to double check before I say something. But that's the word for foreigner. Nikwe. We made a joke of Insider about that a while back. I forgot that word until I just came and saw it. All right. Here we go. Verse 24. And verse 23. And all the land wept aloud as all the people passed by. And the king crossed the brook Kidron, and all the people passed on toward the wilderness. Really quickly, though. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I put that down. Just for confirmation to you all. Just for confirmation. Because I don't think we're going to go into this, but Ittai the Gittite, he became like a commander over David's army, right? And some will say, well, see, they got to be Israelite. But this was a custom in ancient Near East, and also just a custom over there in general. When they used to take people as the captives, they would literally take the men of renown, the captains, the leaders, and bring them over, and then they will be people that was over there, their own people. Think of Yosef. Yosef, you all say. Yosef. He was over everyone other than Paro or Pharaoh. Right? In our Torah, we don't supposed to have anyone over us. But Melech, David is the person that's over us in that time. So even though Ittai the Gittite, later on, I forgot what chapter is in, it's going to show that he's going to be the commander at this point. Even though he has that position, he's not over them. Think of Daniel or Daniel. Throughout the captivity and all the positions that he held over the people. And he was a foreigner of those people. So it's not far-fetched to have the understanding that Ittai the Gittite is actually of the Philistines, of Gath. He's literally Philistine. But he got exiled and he got a part of David. So I just wanted to bring out and bring examples as to us doing the same thing, being foreigners, and ended up taking leading positions in those different groups. All right. Verse 24. And Abiathar came up, and behold, Zadok came also with all the Levites, bearing the ark of the covenant of Elohim, and they set down the ark of Elohim until the people had all passed out of the city. Then the king said to Zadok, carry the ark of Elohim back into the city. If I find favor in the eyes of Yahweh, he will bring me back and let me see both it and his dwelling place. But if he says, I have no pleasure in you, behold, here I am. Let him do to me what seems good to him. Why is he saying this? Because he know what he did with Uriah the Hittite, which I didn't mention also. He wasn't an Israelite. But Uriah the Hittite, he did something foul to Uriah the Hittite. The king also said to Zadok the priest, are you not a seer? Go back to the city in peace. You're still a prophet. Go with the people. The people need you. With the two sons, Ahimaaz, your son, and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar. See, I will wait at the fords of the wilderness until word comes from you to inform me. So Zadok and Abiathar carried the ark of Elohim back to Jerusalem, and they remained there. About to bring out something in just a bit. But David went up to the ascent of Mount of Olives, weeping as he went, barefoot, and with his head covered. And all the people who were with him covered their heads, and they went up weeping as they went. And it was told David, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Yahweh, please turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. While David was coming to the summit where Elohim was worshipped, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him, and with his coat torn and dirt on his head. David said to him, if you go on with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the city and say to Absalom, I will be your servant, O king, as I have been your father's servant in time past, so now I will be your servant. Then you will defeat for me the counsel of Ahithophel. And why is that? Because he's going to be able to have intel. He's going to be able to bring word back to Zadok, right? And his sons and things like that. And they're going to be able to bring it back to David. It's right here. Are not Zadok and Abiathar the priest with you there? So whatever you hear from the king's house, tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priest. Behold, their two sons are with them there, Ahimaaz, Zadok's son, and Jonathan, Abiathar's son. And by them you shall send to me everything you hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city just as Absalom was entering Jerusalem. All right. It was a part I really wanted to bring out. And I think I think we can do it. It's like 7 verses. Because I want to bring this part out and close out with something that something a little more cultural. Let's see this. Okay. We'll continue later. This is actually where I wanted to be. All right, we'll revisit this next week, but I will jump a little bit and just let you all see this one point really quickly. In 2 Samuel 16 and 20, right? It says, Then Absalom said to Ahithophel, Give your counsel. What shall we do? All right. Ahithophel said to Absalom, Go in your father's concubines. Go in your father's concubines, right? Whom he has left to keep the house. And all Israel will hear that you have made yourself a stench to your father, and the hands of all who are with you will be strengthened. Why will they be strengthened? Because he is boldly doing this against the king, David, and the people will see that as David being weak, and this new king is coming in. But that's not the part I want to bring out. The part I really want to bring out, and for those of you that's just coming on, let's read this last part. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof. Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel, right? In the sight of all Israel, he went into his concubines. Let's do something really quickly. Let's go back to 2 Samuel chapter 12. Second Samuel chapter 12. Now remember, he told him to go into all his concubines. He went before the people, pitched the tent, and he did that in front of everyone, his father's concubines. Verse 11. Let's read verse 10 and 11. Or 9 through 11. Why have you despised the word of Yah? This is talking to David. To do what is evil in his sight. This is talking about Uriah the Hittite, what he did. You have struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and have taken his wife to be your wife and have killed him with the sword of the Ammonites. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Thus says the Most High, behold, I will raise up evil against you out of your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of the sun in broad daylight in front of everybody. He's going to lie with your wives. Remember I said concubines' wives? He's going to lie with your wives. And it says, wait a minute. Give them to your neighbor. That's his son. That's not his neighbor. That's what some would say. But what was Lot to Abraham or Abraham? Lot or Lot was Abraham's nephew. But what did Abraham call Lot? He called him Ach, his brother. So when the Most High right here is saying that I will take your wives before your eyes, which he did, and give them to your neighbor, which is his son, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of this sun in broad daylight before the people. All right? So even the righteous may pay. Even the righteous may pay. David is considered righteous. Apple of the Most High's eye. Did all things right in the sight of the Most High, except for the matter dealing with Uriah the Hittite, which is everything that he did concerning that whole process, which was sleep with his wife while he was out. When he came back, tried to get him to go sleep with his wife because his wife was pregnant. But he decided to just stay in front of, with the rest of the army. Didn't want to do it, and then got him shipped off to get killed, put him in the front line. So those were the matters that he did that was unacceptable to the Most High. So it's about to get heavy because we're about to go into some more things next week, part 2 with Absalom. So for those that's tuning in, appreciate you tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, please like, share, and subscribe. And just in case you did miss it, this week we're going to be starting. We have a challenge going on this week, and it's going to be for 3 months. It's focusing on our health. It's a 30-minute walk on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And it's going to be at, here we go. I'm pulling it up right now so you all can see it. That's the only one that I didn't pull up. Here we go. So it's a 3-day challenge. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. You can walk, you can jog, you can brisk walk, or you can run. It's only for 30 minutes. All right. It's going to be from June 1st to August 24th. And that's not the only thing that you will have to do on those days. Another thing that you will have to do is make sure that you're implementing a good amount of water within yourself. Most people are not drinking enough water. Also vegetables and fruit on those 3 days at least, along with the food that you've been eating. We're not trying to stop you from eating what you are eating, even though a lot of us should shift what we've been eating, but we're not trying to do that. What we're trying to do is encourage and help implement more water, right? More fruit, more vegetables. To enter the challenge, you will have to click on this link right here. And you'll enter our WhatsApp group. And this is just a 3-month challenge WhatsApp group. We do have a nutritionist in the group as well. I am a certified personal trainer. So it's certain things that we'll be able to help you with in that actual chat. In the chat, you're going to be taking pictures of you having the water, having the fruit and vegetables here and there throughout the day. And also when you go walking, about 10 to 20 seconds of showing that you're actually doing it, because there will be a prize at the end of the 3 months for those that enter the challenge. All right. And then the next thing that we're going to be doing is we are having Korea Letafila, right? And that is a call to prayer, 7 a.m. on Yom Shalishi, Tuesday, every Yom Shalishi. It'll be a reading, it'll be a prayer call. So that way, this is the midday prayer, right? The midweek prayer, I should say. So to make sure you had your week started after Shabbat, and just to make sure we're keeping each other uplifted in spirit and things of that nature on Tuesdays, right? Yom Shalishi. And lastly, we fast once a week at the bare minimum on the 3rd day, but we started on Monday, Yom Sheni, at 3 p.m. all the way to Yom Shalishi at 3 p.m. So that's why that prayer is going in there as well. And we're inviting those of you to join us, right? This is supposed to help you spiritually, mentally, and physically to reset here, but also reset physically, right? Your body from the things that we eat, try to flush things out, meditation, prayer, just to reset in general. With this fast, it can be a dry fast, or it can be a water fast, or it can be a what do you call that? A smoothie like fast with fruit, right? So those are the 3 options that you have. If you want to join, let us know. If you do join the WhatsApp chat dealing with the 3-day walk, then put in that chat that you want to also be a part of the fasting. So we're just trying to implement things that can help strengthen us spiritually, mentally, physically, and connect us closer to the Most High, and connect us closer to one another. Again, this is not to get anyone to join Beth Zion Ministries. If you decided to, there's a process anyway, but that's not the case. Our job is supposed to be servants to everyone outside of your organization that are B'nai Yisrael, right? So we want to be a service and make sure that we're helping everyone do their due diligence to become closer to the Most High, not only just in reading or keeping the feast, but being balanced in everything, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Most High says a false balance is an abomination to the Most High. That's what the scriptures say, I should say. Proverbs 11:1. So that's what we're doing. Let us know if you're interested. May the Most High bless and guard each and every one of you. Shalom, shalom.
I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I see a dream, that dream is green, and I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, child, woman, and man, as we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights, as we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we want to see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the sake of us.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more failing, telling, being beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I was a part of the mission, changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be. And if they're thinking we can, we show them that just as long as we stand. A monument, we the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake of us. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my